Hi friends, and a very warm welcome to all of you in this e-learning session. Today is the last session of chapter number 5 that we are doing, that is coal and petroleum. We have discussed already about the coal and petroleum. Now we are going to discuss about the natural gas and the compressed natural gas. You already know this is Science by Harsha ma'am. The compressed gas, natural gas, CNG, and the natural gas. First of all, about the natural gas, it is generally used as a fuel and it is when burned because it is in the gaseous form. It doesn't leave any kind of residue. That is a very big plus point about it. And it has a very high calorific value, that is of about 55 kilojoule per gram. We are talking right now about the natural gas. You already know where it is obtained. This natural gas is obtained above the layer of the petroleum and it is having mostly hydrocarbons. It is the mixture of lower hydrocarbons. It contains hydrocarbons and where it is obtained from above the crude oil. It's obtained above the layer of crude oil. Next, it is generally considered as an ideal fuel. What are the reasons why it is considered as an ideal fuel? And in chapter number 6, we will study what are the characteristics of ideal fuel. Although all over here are not matching, but few are matching, and so only natural gas is called as ideal fuel. This can come and give reason that why is natural gas called as an ideal fuel. The very first thing is it burns with a blue flame and it doesn't leave any kind of ashes. This is very, very important point. It doesn't leave any ash on burning. The next thing is it doesn't leave any ash on burning. The next thing is it has burns with a blue flame. With a clean blue flame. Okay, after that it has high calorific value. And how much high is the calorific value of natural gas? It is about 55 kilojoule per gram. Approximately it is about 55 kilojoule per gram. What is the meaning of this now? When 1 gram, just 1 gram of natural gas, when burnt, it will produce the energy of 55 kilojoules. So 1, 2 and 3 zeros, joule. This much amount of heat energy is produced when natural gas is burnt. Okay? So these are some of the key points about the natural gas. It has high calorific value, that is about 55 kilojoule. If I write it in terms of zeros, then it is this many joule per gram. Now we will see about the uses of the natural gas. Some of the new uses of natural gas are, the very first thing is it is used as a fuel, and you have already done its use as a fuel in your previous standards, and you already know this is the basic thing that natural gas is generally used as a fuel. Especially if we talk about the automobiles, then in automobiles you are knowing that compressed natural gas is used as a fuel. After that, it is used as a fuel in domestic as well as in the industries, because it is a clean and blue, it burns with a clean and blue flame. So very first thing is it is used as an industrial fuel. We are discussing its uses. In industries as a fuel, that is its first use. Next, it is used in the manufacturing of hydrogen. For manufacturing hydrogen at a very large scale, in very large proportion, we need natural gas as a fuel. Okay? The very first thing is as an industrial fuel. Then for the manufacturing of hydrogen, next is for the formation of carbon black. You already know, we have already discussed that carbon black, it is a reinforcing agent. That means that it is used for strengthening the tires and tubes. So that is about the use of the natural gas. Next, it is used in the manufacturing of some of the petrochemicals and fertilizers. Is used in making the petrochemicals and fertilizers. Let's have a quick look on whatever content we have seen. We are seeing the natural gas and compressed natural gas. Before we go for the compressed natural gas, first we'll discuss about the natural gas. It contains hydrocarbons. It is obtained above the layer of the crude oil, what it is called as an ideal fuel. Why it is called as an ideal fuel? Because it doesn't leave any kind of ash, it burns with a blue flame, it has high calorific value. These are its uses, that is in the industrial fuel for manufacturing the hydrogen, as in the formation of carbon black, and in making the petrochemicals and fertilizers. Now, where is this natural gas found? In India, it is generally found in Rajasthan, Maharashtra, in Tripura, then in Krishna and Godavari deltas, the delta region, which is very famous, where near the Godavari and the Krishna river, there we are generally finding this natural gas. Coming to the compressed natural gas, in the automobiles, you might be seeing in the auto rickshaws, many buses are available such that the natural gas, it is compressed and it is used as a fuel, because it doesn't leave any kind of ash and it is an eco-friendly gas. Okay, so that's the reason compressed natural gas is used as a fuel. Quickly note down this particular content. Compressed natural gas, I'm not making you write because I think that you will be able to manage it. Note down this particular things. After that, we'll start on the consequences on the excessive use and the mining of the coal and petroleum. Be quick. Note it. You're having exactly 1 minute to note it. Be quick in noting it. Okay, now let's move further. Now, what are the consequences of excessive mining of coal and petroleum? That is, what will happen if excessive mining of coal and petroleum take place? Let us discuss on what happens. The very first thing is there will be energy crisis. The rate at which we are using all the materials that are available to us, all the fuels that are available to us, there is no possibility that after about 100 years these things will remain for our future generation. It will be just like they will be thinking, oh, there is something that is called as coal. Okay, they will be just available as in the museum as a mode of display. If we continue misusing it at this particular way in which it is getting used today, because the coal deposits and the petroleum deposits are not so much that it can be carried forwarded for about more than 500 to 600 years. Okay, in about 200 years, all of the coal will get over. But if we use it judiciously, then we will be able to use it for more 50 to 100 years. So it becomes a responsibility to use the materials, the metals, the coal, the petroleum, the ores judiciously. Okay, the next thing is, if at all excessive mining of coal and petroleum is taking place, hollow space will be created, and that will lead to the natural disasters. Now you might be thinking, what is ma'am saying? See, just try to imagine. This is the area from where we are mining the coal. Now the coal is, it will be taking some kind of place inside the earth. Okay? Some of the place it is occupying. If we are removing that coal, that place will become empty. So that surface of the earth that is residing on some particular surface, you are removing one of its surface, then what will happen? The natural disaster like earthquakes happen. Recently in Gujarat, at many places, this particular disaster occurred. So all these things are happening daily and daily. Why? What's the reason? Just one, that excessive use of the coal and petroleum results in excessive mining, and when we are removing that particular place, from that particular place, extra things, that is the coal and the other things, whatever we need, it will create some kind of gap over there. Now that gap, because that gap is creating a problem when mined, natural disasters will happen. And ultimately it will be a problem for the human beings. And that's the reason it needs to be maintained. The same things happen when petroleum is mined. Okay, the hollow space will be created, and this excessive mining will lead to minor or the major earthquakes. Okay, so I hope that you are trying to understand what ma'am is trying to explain you. The next particular thing is, if coal and petroleum is used, then they will be burned. Right? Yes. The burning of coal and petroleum. Right? Whenever the coal or petroleum are burned, because they contain carbon, what will they produce? They will produce as the gas carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide. And both these are harmful gases. Either carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide will be produced. First, let's talk about carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, it is somewhat a highly poisonous gas. Okay, because whenever carbon monoxide, if any person is by mistake inhaling carbon monoxide, then what will happen? That carbon monoxide will mix up with all the places in the body from where it can extract oxygen. From all the cells, it will remove the oxygen, and ultimately we are knowing that it is generally, when going inside the body, it will combine with the hemoglobin of our body. It will combine with the hemoglobin of the body, and it will collect all the oxygen. Because of the deficiency of the oxygen in the body, the person will have suffocation, and ultimately it leads to sometimes death. So carbon monoxide, one oxygen only. Carbon monoxide, a highly poisonous gas, is produced when coal and petroleum is burnt, if at all they are not pure. Once again, carbon monoxide, which type of gas it is? It is highly poisonous gas. It combines with the hemoglobin that is present in our body, and it will combine with the hemoglobin, it will remove all the oxygen from all the tissues, because it will take up all the oxygen, and because of the deficiency of the oxygen, the person will feel like suffocation, and that may also lead to death. After that comes carbon dioxide. Now, from the day you are born, you all know about carbon dioxide. That is carbon dioxide. It gives rise to the temperature. The temperature will rise, and ultimately, because of the temperature rise, what will happen? You already know, ice in the polar regions will melt. It will lead to greenhouse effect. All these are the problems that are occurring because of carbon dioxide. Okay, so that is a major problem on burning the coal and petroleum. Besides the production of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, the oxides of sulfur and nitrogen are also produced. sulfur and nitrogen oxides. For carbon monoxide, remember this, leads to suffocation. These are only the key points. The oxides of the sulfur and nitrogen. Now, how is this sulfur and nitrogen oxide? When sulfur and nitrogen, these are the two elements. When they combine with oxygen, they get converted into sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, nitrogen dioxide and nitrogen trioxide. Now these gases combine with the rainwater, and ultimately when this rainwater combines with these gases, what happens? It gives rise to the acid rain. I hope you are trying to understand the whole change. Now, what happens when acid rain falls? When acid rain falls, lots of problem is created because all the metallic structures get corroded. You might have heard about the various things that were happening in the Agra. In Agra, we are having one of the 7 wonders of the world, that is Taj Mahal. Its upper layer got yellowish because of the refineries that were present. These refineries were creating lots of pollution, and this pollution, because of this pollution, many times acid rain happened, and this acid rain also led to that white marble of the Taj Mahal turned into yellowish. What was the reason? Ultimately the pollution. And how was this pollution created? By burning these fossil fuels, that is coal and petroleum. The metallic structures, the various marbles, lime structures, they get corroded because of acid rain. So these are the things that happen when excessive mining or excessive use of coal and petroleum is done. Let's have a look at what will happen. These are the key points, and you have to write on the basis of these key points. Once again, we will see all the key points. There will be energy crisis, that is, it will not be available for more amount of time for the future generation. It will create some kind of hollow space, and because of this hollow space, there is a possibility that some kind of major or minor earthquake or any other natural disaster may occur because of that empty space that is getting created inside the earth. Then, the burning of the coal and petroleum. When the coal is burnt, it either produces carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. Carbon monoxide leads to the suffocation. Okay, and because of this suffocation, what happens? A person may also die. How this happens? Because carbon monoxide, it is combining with the hemoglobin that is present in the body. It will move along with the hemoglobin in the whole of the body and extract all the oxygen. After extracting all the oxygen, there will be deficiency of the oxygen in the body that will lead to suffocation. And this is how carbon monoxide is very much harmful. Then comes carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, when it is more in proportion in the atmosphere, what will it lead to? It will lead to the rise in the temperature. This temperature rise will give rise to the greenhouse effect, and ice in the polar regions will melt. So all the problems will start happening. The ice in the polar regions once melt, what will happen? All those areas that are at the bottom place, they will be submerged. So ultimately it's a problem. Next comes the oxides of sulfur and nitrogen. The sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, nitrogen oxide, nitrogen trioxide. When they will combine with the water, they will form sulfuric acid, nitric acid, or nitrous acid and sulfurous acids. These acids will come to the earth along with the rainwater, and it will give rise to a problem that is called as acid rain. Acid rain causes the major damage to the metallic structures, and as we discussed, one of the major problem was about the Taj refinery. Okay, because natural resources are very limited, and especially the coal and petroleum fossil fuels, they are found in the nature, and we have learned how it takes lakhs of years for the formation of it. Its consumption rate is very much fast as compared to its production rate. For formation of coal and petroleum, it takes lakhs of years, but for using it, it's like very quickly we complete using it. The coal and petroleum that is available to us, it will not last for more than 200 years. So what will happen? And in order to save our future generation, and in order to see that for future generation all these things are available, there is a committee that is called as PCRA, that is Petroleum Conservation Research Associate. PCRA, remember the full form. PCRA, it has given some suggestions so that the petroleum deposits will remain for the future generation. Which are those? Before that, you just note it down. I am giving you 1 minute time. You note this. After that, we will discuss about the suggestions, and then after having a quick look at the lesson, we will depart. Stay over here tuned. Be quick, note it. Be quick in noting. I hope that you have noted all these points. Now, let's move further. Now we are going to discuss about what are the suggestions given by PCRA. First of all, what is PCRA? It's Petroleum Conservation Research Association. Now, what is the work of this PCRA, that is Petroleum Conservation Research Association? The very first thing, they have given few suggestions on how these suggestions can be useful to conserve the petroleum for a longer period of time. The very first one that they are saying is drive at constant speed. and avoid using accelerator more often. Avoid using accelerator often. Just if needed, then you can accelerate, you can increase the speed. But if not necessary, don't do it for show off. Drive at a constant, at a normal speed. Then at traffic lights, switch off the vehicle. Avoid, just turn off the vehicle whenever there is a traffic light, a signal is there, and you have to stay over there for about 30 seconds to 1 minute sometimes. Then in that situation, just turn off your scooters or your cars. Next is give your vehicles for servicing at appropriate timings. That is, regularly give your scooters or your cars for servicing. That will again lead to it will use then less proportion of petrol. The oil and everything gets needed to be changed. All that things servicing, please see that it's done at a proper timing. Next is maintain appropriate tire pressure. Okay, now note down this particular 4 points in 1 minute. After that, basically the lesson gets over, but we'll have a quick look on whole of the lesson. Be quick, in 1 minute, quickly note it. You're having exactly 1 minute, then we'll see or we'll have a quick look at whole of the lesson. Be quick. So I hope that you have noted all this content. Now let's have a quick look at whole of the lesson. We are completing our lesson Coal Petroleum today, and today a quick glance on whole of the lesson. We started with what is a resource. Resource is anything that is useful to human beings. It is of two types, natural and man-made. Coming to the natural, natural is of two types, exhaustible and inexhaustible. Exhaustible means it will get over at some proportion of time. Inexhaustible means it is available in unlimited quantity and it is available in plenty. It will not get over in a short span of time. The best example of it is wind, water, sunlight, etc. Coming to the exhaustible source of natural resources, these are the ones which are available in the limited quantity. Because they are available in the limited quantity, what happens is, after using it for some amount of time, it will get extinguished. For example, natural gas, forest, minerals, okay, you cannot renew it again and again, like wind and water and sunlight. Then we discussed about the minerals. The minerals, we are knowing it is available in different proportions at different places on the earth. Its distribution is unequal and it should be used judiciously because it takes lakhs of years for the formation of ores. And it is a very slow process that is taking place inside the earth. And so only its consumption should be done judiciously. After that, we discussed about the coal. we are knowing that coal is a fossil fuel and it is a very important fuel. And where it is available in India, it is available in JOMW, I hope you remember, Jharkhand, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh and West Bengal. Then we discussed about the proportion of coal. It is generally containing large amount of methane. What was the molecular formula of methane? It was CH4. Then how was coal formed? For lakhs of years, the anaerobic thermal degradation of cellulosic material was done, that is called as carbonization was done, and at high temperature, at high pressure, in absence of air, this all the coal all the carbon got accumulated and it gave to the formation of coal, that is the wood. When heated at high temperature and high pressure, it gives rise to peat, which is the light brown colored coal. On heating it more, the brown colored lignite is formed, and you know that near the Bhavnagar we are having more proportion of lignite. On heating it at more and more, the bituminous coal, which is black in color, is obtained, and then anthracite, which is bright black in color, at high temperature and high pressure it is obtained. Then the common varieties of coal we discussed, and uses of coal. Coal is, you are knowing, it is used as a fuel. Then for the manufacturing of coke, coal tar and coal gas by the destructive distillation of coal. Then in making synthetic petrol and the synthetic natural gas. Then it is used in making many organic compounds like phenol, formaldehyde, acetone. Then in the extraction of metals, because it is generally used as a reducing agent. Then we discussed about the destructive distillation of coal. What was destructive distillation of coal? When you are heating the coal at about 1000 to 1400 degrees Celsius temperature, in absence of air, that is in absence of oxygen, we get various materials like coke, coal tar and coal gas. Then we discussed about what is coke, the greyish residue that is remaining in the hard glass test tube, that was called as coke. That is, coke is what? From coal you are removing the moisture and the volatile matter. What do you get? Coke. What were the uses of coke? The uses of coke, whenever anything it is there, it is generally used as, if it is containing carbon, then it is generally used as a reducing agent in the metallurgy process. Then in the manufacturing of the various gases like producer gas, that is carbon monoxide plus nitrogen, and the water gas, that is carbon monoxide plus hydrogen. Then it is used as a fuel in making various carbides like aluminum carbide, silicon carbide, calcium carbide. Okay, it is very hard, and so only it is used as an abrasive. Then comes the coal tar, the very tarry liquid. It is containing more than 200 compounds, generally used in the formation of dyes, explosives, perfumes and many other metals. Then we discussed about the coal gas. Coal gas, it is generally the gaseous substance, and it is containing hydrogen, methane and carbon monoxide. The calorific value of coal gas is very high because the calorific value of all its components is very high. Then we discussed about the uses of coal gas. It is used as a fuel everywhere. You have to write this as a common use. Then it is used in providing inert reducing atmosphere in the metal extraction process, and it is used as an illuminant. Okay, that was about the coal, and then we discussed about the petroleum. In petroleum, we know that it is a viscous, unpleasant odor it is having, and if we talk about its composition, then along with the saturated hydrocarbons, it contains nitrogen, oxygen, sulfur also in some proportion. We discussed about how the petroleum is formed, that is beneath the surface of the earth, inside the oceans. What happens whenever all the organisms are dying, then when they settle at the bottom of the ocean, they get covered by layers of sand, and all the carbon content from that gets accumulated, and at high temperature, high pressure and presence of bacteria and in absence of air, large proportion of heat energy when provided, and for lakhs of years, when this process is getting carried out, inside the ocean, above the layer of the water, the oil gets formed, and above the layer of oil in the impervious rocks, the natural gas, that is the gas above the layer of the oil, is also formed, and this is how the petroleum is formed. After that, we discussed about its mining. That is, it's about some from few hundred kilometers to 2 to 3 kilometers range. The petroleum is obtained. After that, we discussed about the refining process. That is how, depending on the boiling point, we get various materials, that is gas, gasoline, petroleum, kerosene, diesel oil, fuel oil, lubricating oil, paraffin wax, and asphalt. We also discussed about the uses of individually. Then today's lecture, that is natural gas. It is the ideal fuel, generally burns with a blue flame. It has high calorific value. Remember the value, 55 kilojoule per gram. Coming to its uses, then it is used in the making of hydrogen, domestic fuel, in making carbon black, then in making some of the petrochemicals and the fertilizers. Then we discussed about the consequences of excessive mining. Before this only, that is, it will lead to energy crisis. Then the hollow space that is there, it will lead to the problem, that is the disasters like earthquake. Then coal and petroleum when burnt, it will lead to the formation of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and these two gases are very much harmful. Carbon monoxide when inhaled, it leads to suffocation because it combines with the hemoglobin and creates problem for whole of the body, and suffocation leads to sometimes death. Carbon dioxide, it increases the temperature, and because of the increase in the temperature, it leads to the greenhouse effect that leads to the global warming. Oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, these generally create the acid rain, and this acid rain is ultimately a problem for all the natural monuments that we talked about, the monuments that are important for us, and it will corrode all the metallic structures. The sulfur and nitrogen oxides, when they combine with the rainwater, acid rain is happening. Then we discussed and last about the conservation of all the resources, because the resources are limited. Then PCRA, Petroleum Conservation Research Association, it has given this particular modules, that is drive at constant speed. At traffic lights, generally turn off your vehicles and give your vehicles for servicing at appropriate timings, and check the tire pressure, see that it's in the normal range. So that's all for whole of the lesson. I hope that you have understood all the content that is taught in whole of the lesson. If at yet any doubt, just put up a call and ask if you have any timing, in any doubt and at any timing. That's all for the content of the day. Thank you so much for listening to me, and have a very good day all of you. Bye bye.